Isis Miller and Roots FM. So we welcome, as we did on Friday, our brother, elder, statesman, Ras Ivai Tafari, and to the Nyabingi house. And of course, there was so much to say. I said, Ivai, I want to have you back on Monday to continue the conversation. So yesterday was indeed the 58th anniversary and celebrations all over the world. A lot of them right here in Jamaica and all over the world for sure, for this prestigious occasion. Greetings, my brother.
Give thanks to Roots FM family and all and the global family tuning in.
Yeah.
And celebrating this very significant visit to the Caribbean,
Right.
Trinidad, I've tried back to the and then here's the tour.
Mm-hmm.
I must say, because we didn't mention it, that because His Majesty is so much a family man,
Mm-hmm.
he did not just visit the Caribbean by himself.
Mm-hmm.
Two of his grand, he brought Princess Sophia,
Mm-hmm.
and he brought Prince David McConnell. So
Right.
he's a family man. Busy as his schedule was, he ensured that two of his grands accompanied him,
Mm-hmm.
to Jamrock, and that was very special. And,
Absolutely.
just being here and knowing the man from Clarendon who took Princess Sophia and Princess Darwick to sightseeing while he was on his official tour.
See what I mean? We didn't know that.
And I must tell Jamaica what happened. This man named Mr. Gordon. He's a man from Maypen, yeah?
Mm-hmm.
And to those in Maypen, he used to work at their agencies. He was a businessman, a man of academic abilities and all, an African-centered person.
Right.
And he went to his tailor, only to find that his tailor said to him, he's asking him a favor if he could bring his Majesty's grandchildren on sightseeing, because he can't do it because the Emperor gave him an assignment to make some suits, because he usually makes suits for His Majesty while in England. So this man said, okay, Mr. Ron, I want you to do it. Don't tell me no.
Mm-hmm.
And he said, in fact, they are in the store as we speak. He said, I'll introduce them to you. He said the man brought a young man in his presence. He had never seen a young man at 7 years old so majestic. He said the young man walked up to him and shook his hand and said, welcome, sir. It's a pleasure meeting you. And then he said, after that, there was a princess. I had never seen a young miss so beautiful. She curtsied before me and she greeted me nicely, and then he said, listen, I felt for the first time I met royalty. I was so elated
royalty was, yes,
to have met descendant of the royal house of Solomon and Sheba. So this man was expressing this to me on a bus coming from Kingston to Maypen.
Wow.
And because I was writing an article for Rastafari International News, and I heard this man in a very historic argument about Jamaica, what unfolded back in the early days and so on. So I cut in to ask the man a question. Sir, you sound so informed about the history of Jamaica. Where were you when Haile Selassie I visited Jamaica?
Yes.
The man was sitting right beside me, and he turned and looked at me and said, why did you ask me that question? I said, just the way you sound knowledgeable about Jamaica and its history. And said, oh my God, God told you to ask me this question. Let me tell you this. I was the man who brought the Emperor's grandchildren over Jamaica on some special tours. And I said, wow. And so, wow, you asked me this question as if you knew who I was. No. I said, the man, start this history. And I must tell you, because I have to cut it short.
Yes.
He said the day when he went to King's house, because the same day he had to drive with the royal prince and princess, to King's house, because the equerry was there who paid for whatever thing they took from the shop, and he drove behind the royal car up to King's house. The man said, while driving him, I said, but Lord God, look how me fight against Rasta, because them said this man is God. How the hell
did I get this job?
How the hell me know, as a man we oppose Rasta. I love Rastafari,
Yes.
because Rastafari had a level of consciousness second to none on the island. They were so African-centered. I love them for their stand, their Africanness, but I did not agree that they said Haile Selassie was God.
Right.
But outside of that, I love them for their African-centeredness. But listen, I am going to meet the king that I oppose was God. Since my heart skip couple beats,
Oh, gosh, I can imagine.
Running it fast, we reached King's house. He said when he reached King's house, they walked in, he followed the royals, and then he stood in the passageway, and he said he saw the prince and the princess going to meet grandfather Haile Selassie the First, and he said,
Wow.
I heard him speak to the emperor in the holy language. That's the Amharic.
Yeah.
So he said, he spoke to them. Now, just imagine he telling me this on a bus. The bus remained silent till the driver turned off the music in a noisy bus.
What?
Because he was overhearing a conversation.
Yeah, the conversation. Yes.
So the driver
That
said, "Listen,
is
you have to listen
something
to what I'm
else,
saying."
Ivan. That's you.
The bus-
Wow.
The bus hushed. You could drop a pin. Everybody was looking around at this conversation, listening to what this man is saying. So he said, when the royals spoke to the emperor in the holy language, I saw the emperor look up. So I figured they were
Talking
telling
about
the
him.
emperor
Yeah.
that this is the man the tailor sent with us for you to agree on him taking us on sightseeing.
Okay.
So he saw the emperor look above their heads and then beckon to him to come. Him say, Rasta, my heart skip a thousand beats. Just the walk now going to the
Yes.
emperor. When I
Nervousness.
went to the emperor, I looked him in the eye. I stretched out my hands and he took my hand and I looked in his eye. And so Rasta, there was a ring of fire burning in his eyes. I could not look on him anymore. I just found my head down to my chest.
And you remember, for the listeners to understand, this is not a Rasta man, it's a man that never believe in, the divinity.
He's a Baptist lay preacher.
All right, thank you.
I said, sir, you're a Baptist lay preacher. What you said to me a while ago? No, tell me, what did you say happened? He said, listen, there was a ring of fire burning in his eyes, and I could no longer look at him. I just found my head like inches that gave way, and my chin was down to my chest, so my head was down. I could not
look at him.
Anymore. But I felt he touched my head. He stretched out his hand and touched my head. And when he touched me, I felt as if electricity ran from my head to my toes. I felt a feeling I've never felt before.
This is something else.
So,
this is
so
intriguing.
this man, I said, Mr. God, listen to me. You're saying something that I don't understand as a Rasta man, because you're likening the emperor to what John said when I saw his eyes were like a flame of fire. You realize what you're saying to me? Him say, listen, I am telling you this and that. I am not telling you this to you believe me or to make you feel good about what I'm saying. I am telling you what my experience was before the Lion of Judah.
Right, yeah.
He said when the emperor
as a Christian.
touched him, exactly. He said at that time he felt that the emperor took his hand from his head and spoke to him. And he looked up at the emperor and he said, I did no longer see that fire in his eyes. And then he said, I understand that you volunteered to do the rounds with my grandchildren. He said, oh, yes, Your Majesty. I'm ready. And the emperor said, okay, that's fine. Thanks for your assistance. And then he said to His Majesty, Your Majesty, I'm in your presence, and I remember that speech you made in 1963, until the philosophy which holds one race superior and another. And while he was quoting the speech, he said His Majesty smiled. And when he smiled, he said to him, did you know that speech was typed for me by a Jamaican lady?
What are you really saying here now, Ivan?
Of course, our secretary, our black secretary in New York, she was the emperor's secretary to
Me
the UN when they
never know.
went. Oh yes, Louis. What's her name again? Oh gosh, what's
Wow.
her name?
This is one story and a half.
Yes, Marson, Una Marson.
Yes,
was her
of
name.
course, of course.
Yes, Una Marson was the secretary. He said, "Did you know that that lady typed my speech that I gave at the UN?"
Mm.
And he said, "Oh,
So much
yes,
goodness.
Your Majesty." And then he said, he turned to the emperor and said, "And Your Majesty, did you know that she wrote beautiful poems?" His Majesty said, "Yes, she did." And he said, "Yes, Your Majesty." So he said, "I felt so comfortable now having a
Yes, conversation. Yes.
with the emperor." He said, while that happened, and he was informing His Majesty of how this woman, this Jamaican secretary, wrote beautiful poems. He said, "I felt that I was telling His Majesty something he did not know."
Yes.
Only to find the emperor start reciting one of her poems.
No.
So here it is.
Wow.
Come on. Me feel so big, me I tell the emperor
Yeah.
and him acknowledge me I tell him something we don't know. Only to find that the man start to recite one of her speeches.
Yes.
Things about the man pick me up, then he just pick me down slow. So he said to His Majesty, "Your Majesty, do you think that the oppressed peoples of the world..."
It's a long conversation.
Yes,
His Majesty.
Yes, he said to him, "Do you think that the oppressed peoples of South Africa will rise to any prominence?" He says, "Majesty, stamp him feet, one hand foot to the ground, and said, there is no power on the face of the earth that can stop the people of South Africa from soaring to new heights, of moving forward." So in 93, when Mandela was free, was it 93 or 91? 91 thereabout.
Yeah.
He called me up and said, "Ross, I live to see the words of His Majesty fulfilled." He said it to me that there is no power on the face of the earth that could stop the oppressed people of South Africa from soaring forward.
Yes. So many stories, but I'm glad you told this story because most persons wouldn't have known this. That connection, and even I didn't know the details of it for sure. So these, this is like hands-on.
Personal interaction. And he said, quickly now, His Majesty, just as he was about to leave, His Majesty said, "Hold on," and he went into his pocket and gave him an invitation. The invitation, he said, it had gold edges on the invitation, inviting him to the ball that His Majesty put on behalf of the family. So he got an invitation for him and his wife.
Beautiful.
So when him go home, I say, "They don't know me have a wife that is I think we have a wife to invite to come to King." So
but what I want to know, remind us again when how many days when did he leave? When was the actual date of his leaving?
Well,
because he went to
came the Thursday, Friday to Saturday, and he left the Sunday morning, 1966, en route to Haiti. Where he met Papa Doc,
Yeah.
And Haiti was like a short visit. It did not last long. But the president at the time, he described His Majesty as being greater than Solomon. Yeah, he gave some nice words of His Majesty. His Majesty would have congratulated Haiti on their victory over the colonialists.
France. Yeah. So what it is though, when he arrived on the 21st, he spent 3 more days because he actually went to Montego Bay and all of that by train.
So it's the Thursday, the Friday, and then on the Saturday at Haile Selassie School, and then he got the Doctor of Law degree at the University of the West Indies with all these nice accolades, and then the same man them fight against,
Of course.
Them think of his ability to to rule and to govern and to speak, at the universal level about justice and peace and moral upliftment and all, and he spoke against disarmament and the powerful nations, oppressing the weaker nations. It's like, His Majesty's work throughout, and let's spoke highly of him. Even at the national stadium, talk about the love Jamaica has for him. Our own Governor General, Sir Clifford Campbell in Montego Bay, he said, Your Imperial Majesty does stand head and shoulders above all that we have seen or read about. So we said, what?
Yeah. So if it was today, if yesterday was the 21st, he would have been here the 21st, 22nd, 23rd, and then leave on the 24th.
Yes,
the Sunday.
Sunday.
But I mean, if for this date though, like how it was yesterday for this time, it will be 3 days after. I just want to know. It will be 4 days, 4 days in all.
Yeah, he left on the 4th day. So 21st, 22nd, 23rd, and then he left Sunday morning.
Wow.
But one thing the Emperor ensured, because when I questioned Georgia Airfield Senator Hector Winter, he said the Emperor, when I asked him to describe the Emperor, what kind of man did you meet? He said, well, the Emperor, very calm, quite humble, and very determined to meet with the Rastafarians. He told us that wherever he will be, the Rastafarians must be there. Yeah. So at Sheraton, at Yowie, at King's Hall, they had all royal invitations, special seating, and then the Emperor arranged a special meeting to meet the heads of Rastafari.
Right.
And Hector Winter said the night before, I said, Your Majesty, you will meet 31 of the outstanding leaders of Rastafari. Do you care to say to them that you are not God? Senator Hector Winter said, I asked him if it was his personal question or was he commissioned by the state to ask His Majesty the question. He said, no, that was my personal question.
Yes.
But he turned and looked at me and asked, who am I to interfere with their beliefs? He said, that was what is my... He said, never mind, Your Majesty. And he said, well, you meet with them tomorrow and all, and with, like him say, with delegate. He said, no, I will meet with them alone. So he needed to have a time with them, then the other officials can
Right. Where was this meeting held with the Rastafarian delegation?
Well, he met with them at King's House.
Okay.
Yes, he met with them at King's House, and he met with them again at Vale Royal, where gifts were exchanged, and His Majesty. What he did, he gave the Rastafarians medals. So instead of shunning Rastafari, scoffing at them, remember for the first time, Rasta ended up at King's House, Rasta could hardly go uptown,
Much less King's House.
Much less to go at King's House, Well adorned to, royally adorned. They were His Majesty's special guests. And the Emperor gave them gold medals. So instead of shunning Rastafari, he medaled them. When you give someone medal, it's an account of their work. So His Majesty commended the role Rastafari played, and he gave our elders, I think 13 of them, got medals from His Imperial Majesty. I'm not sure. I think probably Bongo Trevor is not dead. He might be the only surviving Rastafarian who received a gold medal from the Lion of Judah. And then His Majesty now, he gave the school and all, and after a while we were searching for where is the cornerstone the Emperor laid, the royal cornerstone, and up to now, the school fraternity couldn't tell me what happened to the cornerstone laid by the Lion of Judah. Give thanks to Rasperty and others who decided that this cornerstone has to be replaced by another designed by the Rastafari community, and who brought that and laid that at the school in memory. So somebody thief it. For some reason, somebody thief it. Just like the many, even in the town of Maypen, when His Majesty still arrived in Maypen at Denby station, he also gave the mayor a gold medal for the town of Maypen. We at the Continental Cultural Unity, our local community group back then, we went to the mayor to find out what happened to the medal the king left for us. Because that medal should be in the mayor's parlor in a nice case.
Of
Where
course.
everyone
People can come
see
and view it.
the Lion of Judah, descendant of David and Solomon, Emperor Haile Selassie I, gave a medal to the town of Maypen.
Yeah.
Where is it?
Where is
And
it?
we check with success in me, and none of them can't
Nobody.
tell me where
Yeah,
they.
man. Somebody
So
thief
me
it
know
again.
The listen, the Rastafari security should go in and inquire. They're gonna have to tell me where we
That's
medal
it.
the Lion of
That's
Judah
it.
left.
Well,
And
all
then
the
what-
time, Ras, I believe it or not, I tell you, man, when it comes down to you and how you deliver to us all the information, it's really, takes so much. But I really appreciate it. Based on the anniversary time, that today would have been His Majesty's second day in Jamaica, based on
in
the
Jamaica,
22nd.
yes, and we would have another day, and
Yes.
then we would leave and fly out now to,
Yes, to Haiti.
To Haiti.
Yes,
yeah.
yes.
So we give thanks. It was
Thank
really,
you.
as they said, a whirlwind tour, very significant, unprecedented. The only king to have ever visited King's House. So all that.
What a historical occasion.
Talk about it. And it did well for Rastafari.
Of course.
It placed us on a pedestal.
Of
So we give thanks
Give
to this
thanks.
anniversary and look forward to talking about it. And there are so many ones around, that has not spoken as yet,
Yes. We
Because
need to
I must
speak.
tell you this. There was a child who a woman had in Spanish Town
Mm-hmm.
who, when the train stopped briefly, this woman ran up to the train door and put a baby in His Majesty's hand.
Mm-mm.
And His Majesty took the baby. That baby would have to be about 59 years old now.
Yes.
Where is that child?
Those people need to do some research to find
I
out
would
where these
love
people
if
are.
we could find out who's the mother might have died. Or
Yes,
somebody
yes.
knew who is that child. Because
child.
I was saying, did that child have an ailment and this woman feel like...
Right, why would she do that? Yeah,
Just
why would
like
she do
in
that?
the days of old when everybody bring them baby with sick to just touch the hem of the garment. This woman placed the baby in His Majesty hand who took the child. But when the fracas start taking place, when police start tear gas, because them claims a Rasta did kidnap the king now, So
We gotta go.
tear gas and also that child, we need to find out. If
Yeah, man,
everybody
put
know
the
that
word out there.
child,
Yes.
that baby. That
Give
baby
us
must have been-
link us
She's
up.
about 59. We need to know and to find out what really had happened with
So
that
true.
child. Why the mother placed the child in the hands of mother. When the
We
train
have
was
on a
about to
mission,
leave,
on a mission, on a mission.
the emperor had to give back the lady the baby, and the train started.
Right.
So we give thanks.
Give thanks, man. Give thanks for the journey. Give thanks for the history, the legacy. Ras Ibai Tafari. We bless you and thank you every time.
Always a pleasure.
Great works. Enough love.
Rastafari.
Rastafari. Ras Ibai Tafari, Nyabingi, statesman. Oh my God. When Ibai tells you a story, when Ibai tells you a story about, our majesty or, just in general, believe you me, it is a story, it's a journey, and we really appreciate it. All right, so we're going to take a quick break right about now. And, of course, we're coming up to Mekwito.